Welcome, guys, to another episode of Making Feria. My name's Chris Medina. I am an entrepreneur, and today I have a really good friend. Her name is Annette Uribe. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in and talk about what you do. So just give us a little quick background about yourself and what you do and how'd you get into it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. My name is Annette Uribe. Like Chris mentioned, I am a mom of four. I run a financial firm and I've been in the business world for the last 5 years. I guess I can share a little bit about my story.
Yeah.
I was about to enter physician assistant school when life happened for me. My dad became terminally ill, so I decided to take a pause in my career to be a full-time caregiver for him. Then our first son, I got pregnant with our first son. And things just happened for me. And I'm happy they did because I don't think I would be where I'm at right now. Sometimes when things happen to us, I think we don't understand why they're happening, right? And I look back and would I have chosen a different route, I probably wouldn't be the person I am today. So I'm very grateful and I absolutely love what I do. I love teaching other people how money works, and even more so beyond that, now I love coaching and teaching others how to run their own businesses. So it's been an amazing past 5 years.
So Annette, just give us a quick breakdown of like what you do and how do you do it.
Okay.
Because you said you help business owners manage their businesses, right?
So with reference to that, I help entrepreneurs who want to start their own business in the financial spectrum. So if they want to, let's say they're already tax preparers and they want to add additional value to their existing book of business, then I go in and teach them different strategies, different systems where they can apply and just add more value to those clients. Obviously, it's a win-win for the client. They get additional services from someone they already trust. And for the person who's serving them, let's say that tax preparer, now they're bringing in additional income into their business by giving those additional services. Basically, what we're doing is we're teaching strategies on more so financial education, giving value. What I've seen in the past in my career is most individuals don't know how money works. So, just how compound interest works, how money gets taxed, different types of strategies for your money. By that, it allows, for example, our clients or business partners to know how they can go about and educate their own audience on money. So we're helping everyone from planning from the unexpected, planning for long-term retirement, or if they're already in retirement, helping them really strategize how they can make their money really be with them until their last day. Because most people, when they're in retirement, for example, they outlive their money. And then that's why we see a lot of older individuals, they pick up a part-time at Walmart or Home Goods, whatever the case is. So we're really making sure that people aren't working so hard for their money, but starting to learn how to make their money work for them.
Definitely, because I'm sure inflation has a lot to do with that, right? They
Absolutely.
save money and then later down the road it's kind of worth less. And so what is compound interest for those of us who don't know,
Okay, it's actually a very simple rule. If you go back home and tell your friends, hey, have you heard of the rule of 72? Most likely they'll say no, which is,
no.
it's,
Even me, I'm just like, what is that?
so, and it's nothing, it's not that it's your fault, right? It's just the school system doesn't teach us. They teach us, how to go to school, get a degree, get a good job, and then most people get out with, student loan debt, and then they're working hard to pay off that loan that they got from their school, and then the cycle never gets broken, right?
Yeah.
So going back to your question, is the rule of 72 basically states that you take the number 72. Let's say I'll ask you, Christian, or I'm sorry,
Chris. Christopher, but you can call him Chris, yeah.
Chris, where do you usually think about saving your money? Like if you were to go somewhere, where would you initially go?
Well, I recently learned that American Express has a savings account that pays you 4% on a monthly basis.
Okay.
So, but before that, I used to just put it in my account, or in my vault, right? That's where it kind of sad. But then I learned like, oh man, this inflation's kind of killing my money. It's starting to being worth less and less and less every year. So I really never had a plan. And then as an entrepreneur, I don't really think about saving money. I like more investing my money,
Okay.
or multiplying my money, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now you said something key before, which is more like the bank, right? You would just save it in your account.
Correct.
So let's say you go to the bank. Typically, a bank will give you, do you know the interest, around what interest they're giving you?
Bank of America gives me zero, nothing.
Zero.
Yeah.
We call it point pathetic, right?
Yeah.
But let's just say we found a bank that gave us a 1%.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're taking the 1% divided into 72. That's letting us know how long our money will take to double. Okay. So 1 divided into 72, that means it would take our money 72 years to double. When you put it into perspective, at 1%, can you really afford 72 years for your money to double? Let's say you started off with $10,000. In order to go from $10,000 to $20,000, you would need 72 years.
Yeah. I'm not the best at math. I'm calculating this. Okay. So you said 72 times the 1%?
72 divided by 1.
Yeah.
So that gives us 72 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say we start off with $10,000.
Yeah.
That means that those $10,000, in order to double to $20,000 at 1%, would take 72 years.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
that's no good.
yeah, no. So most Americans, what they're doing is, when they think about saving their money, is they're going to the bank. So they're going to the bank, they're getting a 0.01%. They're not even at 72 years, right?
Yeah.
So they're never going to see that money grow for them. Basically, what the bank is doing is they're using this concept, taking their money, the home loans, the auto loans, all the different loans. They're using compound interest to their advantage. They're making our money work for them. And that's how they're able to keep growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, and generate more money. Okay.
So we want people to start thinking like the bank. We want them to say, okay, well, where can I use these, where can I find a higher interest, whether it's investing in, properties or finding different vehicles where your money can work for you, so that it's not taking 72 years to double.
So you help people shorten that time looking at better investments.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. And then you mentioned like taxes. So how do you help with taxes?
Well, with taxes, we're helping folks just understand different ways that money does get taxed, right? There's basically 3 ways. Tax me now, which is, you pay taxes then and there. Tax me later, or what you call tax deferred, your 401ks, 457s, 403bs. Sometimes individuals don't even understand that they're putting money into a vehicle, and then when they're ready to withdraw, they're going to be taxed. It's a surprise to them. So just, not that these things are good or bad, but it's just helping them understand, hey, your hard-earned money is being piled up here. Just be aware that when you are going to retire, or when you are going to withdraw from here, that $1 million sitting in your 401k is not $1 million, because you still owe Uncle Sam, state and federal taxes.
Yeah, so supposedly it's going to be lesser than if you take it right away, or not really.
The rule is you have to wait till age 59 and a half to withdraw any money. If you take it prior, there's a 10% penalty plus your state and federal taxes. So it's just, because what happens is, in reality, when most people, let's say they get hired on into a new job, they sit down with HR. HR says, congratulations, we're happy to have you, sign here. Would you like to participate in your 401k or not? So everything's kind of just like sign here, sign here, sign here. But no one really walks you through or sits down with you and kind of helps you analyze your options.
Okay.
And again, it's not anyone's fault. It's just the lack of education available for most people. So that's kind of where I come in. I'm just I'm really giving value, educating, helping people understand what they have, what they don't have, and so forth.
So it's not only entrepreneurs or business owners. You help pretty much anybody, even
Yes.
employees.
Yeah. So I'm helping, your mom and dad, who have never had a financial professional sit down with them. Why? Because maybe they're not rich and wealthy and no one's knocked at their door to say, hey, let me help you understand how to invest your money, or let me help you understand how to prepare for the unexpected. So I'm helping everyone from, low income, middle income, high net worth, businesses, individuals. What I love about what we do is we're not captive to anything. We're really strategizing and tailoring to our clients' needs, not to our needs, to their needs.
And how do you usually go about that? You do a consultation, like say, for example, if I wanted you to meet with my employees, you would like do a consult with them, or how does that work?
So a lot of times we're doing seminars, again, educating them on these different topics, right? From there, once we're educating them, they start seeing the value of what they may not or may, most of the time is what they probably don't know yet. And so what I've noticed is when it comes to money, talking about money, people are not very comfortable about sharing where they're at, right? So it is, either a one-on-one consultation. It can be a group setting if that's what they feel comfortable with. It's a group setting. But for the most part, I'm sitting down with someone one-on-one, analyzing where they're at, where they want to be, and really how we can get them there.
Gotcha. Okay. So, what are some of the challenges that you had to overcome the first year on your entrepreneurial journey?
Great question. Why? Because, like I mentioned, I was transitioning from being always in a medical field position. So, believe it or not, I was an EMT. I drove an ambulance.
Wow.
I was getting my hours done to enter physician assistant school because before being even accepted into school, you have to, have your bachelor's. There's a lot of requirements.
Yeah.
But one of them is having like over, I forgot already, but it was like over 10,000 hours in like the medical field, whether it's hospital, you working on the field, whatever it is. So I did a lot of my hours in the hospital and as an EMT. So I was, little girl driving, well,
Right
little, I'm
on.
short.
Like doing emergencies?
Yeah, I remember my first 911 call. I told my partner, I was like, oh my gosh, where are the buttons? Like, where are the
Oh
lights and the
man.
sirens? He's like, I got you. And it was like an adrenaline rush. But the reason why I went into the medical field is growing up, I'm first generation. My parents, and bless their soul, both have passed already. But I was the first one in my family to go off to college, and I didn't get any guidance. So I figured it all on my own. And through that process, I'm like, okay, well, what do I like? I love helping people.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you should be a doctor. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess I'll be a
God,
doctor.
yeah.
And I started getting into the medical field. I'm like, no, but I know I want to have a family. I know I want to get married. I know I want to have children. Like, I want to have a household. I'm like, most doctors, like, they give up a lot of their time, right? And they do amazing things, but it's hard work. And not that I wasn't afraid of putting in the hard work, but that's not what I saw for myself, right? So I'm like, all right, physician assistant, you could be a little bit more lenient on your time, work for a doctor, not have so much of the responsibility. And that's when life happened. So then my first year, how I kind of came across starting the business was my husband was already he already ran our financial firm.
Yeah.
So I thought it was smart to just kind of help him back office, be of support, however I could help him out.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Then little by little, I got licensed. I started getting training, and I'm like, I saw the necessity that, people never sat down with my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And had they learned basic financial concepts, they wouldn't have gone through some of the stuff they went through while they were terminally ill. So both of my parents, and this is kind of where it went from my head to my heart of the need of what we do.
Yeah.
So for example, my mom, she was always self-employed. She had her own beauty salon. At that time, medical health insurance wasn't a requirement. So when she got ill, she would go to the clinics and like, oh, señora, like, oh, ma'am, don't worry about it. It's just a little tummy ache. Like, take some whatever for your tummy, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But it kept hurting and hurting, and so she had to go to Tijuana to get a biopsy, and it turned out to be pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, within 3 months of being diagnosed, she passed away. But I always remember that that was like my mom's constant like struggle of thinking, okay, well, if I don't have medical insurance, how am I going to get chemo, or how am I going to get the assistance that I need, right? So I know the financial burden of not having money up front to pay for medical expenses maybe took her sooner than expected, right? Fast forward 10 years later, my dad got terminally ill with a disease called ALS. And his was a little bit different, where ALS starts kind of taking away your motor functions, and then everyone's a little bit different. But he passed away from
Kind of like
complications.
Alzheimer's, kind of? Or not really?
Not really. It basically all your organs start dying out.
Oh, they stop working.
Exactly. So then ALS, for someone to have like medical assistance, because at one point he needed help 24/7,
Yeah.
it cost over $340,000 a year to keep someone living comfortably, right?
Yeah.
Like breathing machines, the special beds, assistants, the nurses, the team that takes care of him, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to be his primary caregiver, to alleviate
Some
of those costs. My dad had just retired, right? So he was going into his golden years thinking,
Yeah.
you know, I'm ready, I'm retiring. Little did he know that his retirement was going into this terminal illness that he had not planned for, right?
Yeah.
So when I sit down with people, I'm helping them understand, hey, we need a plan for the unexpected, because you never know. And you'd rather be prepared and have something in place and hopefully not needed than being in that situation, needing it, and then not having the funds to take care of that stuff, right? So I take it to heart when I sit down with people. I'm like, okay, if this was my mom and dad, like, what would I do for them?
Yeah.
And it's needed. It's definitely needed.
Yeah, people need financial education, but cool. And you said it was like a license that you get for that? What kind of license is that?
So the initial license, most people who start out in the financial services, is life, health, and accident, which allows you to do a lot of the services that we do.
Okay.
And then, you know, now what I'm doing is we're building our agency, we're building our team. So helping other people get licensed, get them through training, assisting them in, you know, how is it that basically cloning myself so that others are able to do the same.
And you guys work with all age ranges, obviously 18 and over, right?
With clients?
Yeah, with clients.
Actually, to be a client, we have clients who are 2 weeks old. So
2 weeks? No
Yeah.
way.
Parents
You got the
are,
baby in front of you.
well,
You got your milk.
we're sitting down with parents, sometimes even grandparents,
Yeah.
who are starting to think about, you know, their children's or their grandchildren's future. And they're thinking about college. They're thinking about, you know, their kids' own retirement. Or let's say, because nowadays we know that, honestly, if I could go back, maybe I would have skipped college and not I'm not giving anyone advice to
No,
not
no.
go to college, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But we know, or at least I've seen, that nowadays you don't really need a college degree to make great money. You don't need a college degree to start a business. There's so much available to us to
Yeah.
shortcut. Not that I'm saying success should be microwaved, but learn from those who, you know, see, like, mimic someone you want to be, right? Because a lot of the times most people are following advice from the uncle or the aunt who, you know, are still in the rat race, and they're telling them, no, you should be doing this, but them themselves have bad money habits.
Yeah.
So it's you know, finding good people in your life to be around, to get mentored by.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. Find yourself a good mentor. Like for me, you know, growing up, I noticed that one of my uncles, used to drive a Lexus, and he was the only uncle that was doing good. Like he had his own house, he had his family, he had his business, he had the Lexus, and every time I drive with him, I'd be like, "Oh, this car's real nice." Like I got the leather interior, it's all luxurious. I'm like, man, this guy knows something that everybody else doesn't know. So I was like, I had to follow him and ask him, questions about life. So, and then later down the road, I got more better mentors, and obviously you want to get somebody that's already doing or is where you want to be, right?
Right, exactly.
So
And
definitely.
like that's a great advice because in social media sometimes people only paint the pretty side of things
Yeah.
and they're renting most of their, like they don't live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it's really getting to know someone who, if you're huge on faith, someone who's big on faith. If you're huge on family, someone who's a family person. Not everyone's perfect, right? But at least
Yeah.
the values, finances, are they good with their money? Do they have investments? Do they have more assets than liabilities? Fitness, health, like anything you prioritize, they should be great at.
Yeah, yeah. Get to know the people in person, right? Like for me, like I recently started hanging out a lot with Albert Preciado, which right?
Right.
So I saw him on social media because I think I saw him speak at one of Ryan's events with, I don't know if you know WealthCon,
Yes.
like Ryan Pineda. So I started following him, and I knew he was local here. I knew he was like in Beverly Hills, and he was the only one that kind of really stood out to me. So then I started following his content. He would promote this Zoom call weekly, $67. I don't know if it's a month, and I was just like, nah, that's just not for me, man. I kept sending him messages, and he would respond. He'd be like, hey, well, join my mastermind weekly Zoom call. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do it. Then he offered me the in-person 5K mastermind. So you pay $5,000, you go hang out with him for a day, and he actually shows you the real stuff, like how to run the business. You can ask him any business questions. You get to see his office. You get to see the real things, real stuff.
Right.
Right. So that's kind of what I liked about Albert. So that's why I joined his mentorship too.
That's funny you mentioned that because if anything, I have to give the biggest credit to my husband. He was the one who saw it more in me at first than I saw in myself to be an entrepreneur. Like I always knew I wanted something, but I didn't know how to go about it. So my husband started attending Grant Cardone 10X. The first one he went to, Ty Lopez was speaking, and he was doing his upsell of, his mastermind. And so my husband purchased the mastermind, and when he came back home, he's like, hey, I enrolled you in this amazing program. And I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, yeah, you head out to Omaha next week. I'm like, Omaha? I'm like,
Where's that? I don't know where that is. Is that Hawaii?
So it was a Berkshire Hathaway convention with Warren Buffett. And I was like, okay, like if you think this is something good for us, like I'll backtrack. My husband and I, we're probably our biggest cheerleaders. If it's ethical, moral, we're not doing bad to anyone. Like if it's just bringing value to us and to others, then we're gonna pretty much say most likely yes to that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So it was a time in our life where it was needed and it was perfect for us. So I went out to Omaha by myself. Our son was
Where's that again?
Ohio.
Ohio. Oh, Ohio. Okay. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, Nebraska.
Oh,
Omaha,
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
Ohio.
Okay. All right.
My
Nebraska.
husband just
Omaha.
came back from Dayton, so.
Okay.
So I was there with a bunch of entrepreneurs, a bunch of individuals who like didn't know each other, and it just felt right because everyone was encouraging, everyone was trying to authentically help each other out. So that was kind of our first initial mastermind with Ty Lopez. And then from there, the people who you get to connect with, you get to meet, you get to associate with, you get to learn from. It's definitely different circles that open your eyes of the possibilities that are available to you. And I feel like most people sometimes fear holds them back because if they say yes to something, like what can happen? Well, the worst that can happen is it just doesn't work out, but it's not the end of the world,
Yeah.
exactly. So faith and fear are something that I try fear not to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
overpower me. I try faith to kind of uplift me more. And I'm having a blast. Honestly, these last 5 years, it's kind of really ignited where I'm at right now. I have 4 children, so it hasn't been easy, managing mom life and business and like a
Oh, yeah.
team. So I don't believe in balance. I don't like I like
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I got 2 kids too, and one week they're with their mom, and one week they're with me. So one week I'm like full-time dad, and I'm just like, oh man, I gotta get to work, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta get home, I gotta feed them, I gotta do this, fix their stuff, and it can get hectic.
I get it. I get it. And it's like, okay, priorities. Like priorities are, your family. Is it your family or friends, right? Well, most people, hopefully, they're choosing their families,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
sometimes friends are their family. So what I'm trying to say is hold your priorities stronger to get you to where you want to eventually be. Like I feel like most of the time, anything that's worthwhile is not easy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, of
going to take
course.
work. So, social media can play like, oh, look, I'm a millionaire the next day. It's like, no, people don't just become millionaires from
Yeah,
one night to
no.
another. It takes work. It takes teamwork, especially teamwork within
Yeah,
your household, your business, everyone being in alignment, sacrifices.
true.
So, but I rather put in the work for ourselves, my husband and I, for our business, than grow something great for someone else.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys decided to open up your own
Exactly.
thing, right? What would you say are some keys to your success?
Keys to my success. Well, I'm definitely not where I want to be yet. Like, there's always room for growth and improvement. And I feel discipline is one of them. I'm a very disciplined person. Huge thing that I've learned from my husband is being a person of my word. So, like, if I say I'm going to do something, I better figure out how I'm going to do it. I don't use, I try not to use excuses.
Yeah.
My children have never been my excuse. I know it's hard. Don't get me wrong. Being a parent and having children and trying to figure out how to be a good parent and then run a successful business is
Yeah.
not easy. But I will never use them as an excuse to why I'm not getting to where I want to be, because the last thing that I want is for my children to grow up and say, "Well, mom, you didn't do it. Like, why should we?" Right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
want, I want, if they're going to have role models, I want it to be myself and my husband and not the stranger down the street.
Yeah.
Well, stranger to us, maybe, whatever.
Yeah.
And being mentally tough, like life is going to happen. You're going to have so many ups, so many downs, and you just need to be tough, mentally tough to be ready. Like if you need your circle of friends or acquaintances or whoever it is who are going to keep you going, then find that. Or if it's through exercising, whatever it is that is going to keep your sanity.
Yeah, hanging out with like-minded people, right? And then, if there's, I mean, we all know that toxic person in our life, right? We need to, like, you know what, cut them off our lives, right?
Yeah.
Even for a little bit, even if it's a family member, like sometimes we have to make those decisions to, cut them off. But cool. Anything else? Any other keys to your success? But that's good.
Yeah. So, well, for 2024, my word or my phrase for the year is Mamba mentality. So 2024, I'm going in with Mamba mentality. I'm doing whatever it takes. I feel like this four kids, 24, whatever. Just this is a year of a lot of new growth. Like I said, I do lead a team. I do not only sit down with clients, but more so focusing on developing others to be able to live out their dreams, to be able to bring in financial freedom to their households, to be able to be where they want to be. And so, yeah, Mamba mentality, here we go.
Excellent. I like that. I like that. Good stuff. So what do you think's the craziest thing you've done in business?
Craziest thing I've done in business. You know what? When I got started, I kept hearing this whole door knocking thing. I don't think it's crazy, but from someone to come from more so being an employee to now, okay, I'm going to take full force and run my own business. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, let's get whatever fear out of the way first so that I can build our business, fearless.
Yeah. So what is that door knocking?
So door knocking,
I don't even know that term, but
I heard it from a lot of people. You go home to home and you basically knock on people's doors,
oh yeah,
introduce yourself, and, hey, my name is Annette. I'm new to the area. It's something completely different, right? And it is out of your comfort zone. I don't know if it's the craziest thing in business, but it's definitely something that I never thought I'd do.
yeah, something that you were super uncomfortable with.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
let me just get this out of the
So
way.
you did that for a while?
I did that maybe a week, and
Okay.
I was like, because do I need to so I don't need a door knock.
Yeah.
Our business runs mostly through referrals, people who know us, people who are recommending us.
Yeah.
But, most people are door knocking, like real estate agents, or, they door knock to look for new homes to sell or purchase, whatever the case is. And so I decided to go door knocking, see what that was all about.
Yeah, I mean, now in 2024, door knocking could be on social media.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could target so many people without going anywhere. I mean, you just film some content, give some valuable stuff on a daily basis, and it's like kind of like door knocking. You go now on Instagram, Facebook Live, and that's pretty identical. You're getting people to come in, and you're introducing yourself,
Yeah.
sharing your services and stuff. So that's kind of a big thing that's I've been seeing a lot, right? Do you see people going on live and stuff?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, for our industry, it's changed tremendously after COVID. Most of the time we were going to our clients' homes, or they were coming to our office to sit down with us. And after COVID, now everything is done through Zoom. So it's become a norm where now our clients are asking us, hey, well, can we do it through Zoom instead? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, no more drive time. No, like appointments are now back to back instead of spending time on the freeway.
True.
So the Zoom era has helped us tremendously. Like, now we're able to expand all 50 states, both clients and business partners. And like, the possibilities are endless. So I love the Zoom era.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. No, yeah, I'm still learning the Zoom. I'm trying to get my team on Zoom, so I'm working on that this year. I'm gonna do that actually this week. But cool. So so this podcast obviously for new entrepreneurs, upcoming people, or people who want to start their business. What advice would you give to them? Trying to start a business or get their financials right.
Okay, so if let's say who is wanting to start their own business, like, no, it's going to be hard. Don't go into it thinking that it's going to be, as easy as, again, I go back to social media because unfortunately social media sometimes paints things differently than reality is. So don't go into it thinking that it's going to be super easy. It's not going to be super hard either. If you get a no is a no. It's not the end of the world, like we mentioned before.
Yeah.
So kind of get those fears out of the way. Also, that most of the time your friends and family aren't going to be your biggest supporters in the beginning, because they know you. Like, for example, they knew me in the medical field. They didn't know me as a financial professional.
Yeah.
So initially, they're going to be hesitant. Now, 5 years later, they see where I'm at. They see where my husband and I have created for ourselves. And a lot of those people who were naysayers in the beginning are asking for a lot of advice.
Yeah.
And I don't take that to offense. And no one else should too. Know that, you're going to go through a lot of ups and downs as an entrepreneur. Sometimes we call it lonely, right? Because people come into your life at certain points for certain reasons, and then some stay and some leave, right?
Yeah.
But everyone has a purpose. Learn from that purpose and just have room for growth, like constant growth. Growth in all areas, like knowing that you shouldn't be the same person who you were the year before.
Yeah.
And then who you surround yourself with. And then for your finances is learning basic financial concepts, how money works, where you can invest money, different options. Being more financially literate
Yeah.
is something that's definitely needed and overlooked. And yeah, asking for help. I think asking for help is a huge one because I know what I know from my profession. I don't know what you know from your profession, right? So it's okay to help each other out and
Yeah.
support one another instead of kind of like, no, I'm not going to share with Chris what I know because I'm afraid that he's going to succeed. No, it's like you should uplift each other and
Yeah.
work with one another to, help each other grow.
Definitely, definitely. So just to recap, yeah, like you said, it's hard to not get started and it's hard to get started. So pick your heart, right?
Yeah.
And eventually you're gonna work your way, you're gonna learn the industry that you're in, you're gonna learn about business,
Absolutely.
start going to business seminars. That's how I actually met you, Annette. I met you at Driven 7, it's here in LA every year. And just hang out with like-minded people, especially the successful ones. They actually, most 99% of the time, they're not gonna mind you asking them a question, right?
Right.
Because it actually fulfills us. We want to help you. We want to give you guys advice to get to that next level. If there's any way that we can help, it's actually fulfilling for a lot of successful people. Wouldn't you agree? Right?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain point, you want, and like I said, we're nowhere where we want to be yet, right?
Yeah. Oh,
There's
yeah.
always room for growth, but through where I've seen myself where I was to where I'm at, it's like day and night. How I speak, how I present myself, the confidence, like within business and outside of business, like this is not overnight success. This is not the person you're seeing right now sitting down is not who was, 5 years ago. Would you
Yeah.
be asking me in an interview, I'd be like, oh, what are we talking about?
Yeah. That's true. You should see my first video. It's like, hi, I'm Christopher Medina. I'm a hearing aid dispenser and I can help you with your hearing. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
just being open to wanting to become better and learning and just, pushing yourself and having those to push you as well.
Yeah, get comfortable getting uncomfortable. That's how you're going to ultimately grow. All right, guys. Well, that's another episode of Making Feria. Thank you so much, Annette, for coming. Now, where can the audience find you if they have any questions about, starting their own business or financial advice or taxes, all that stuff?
Absolutely. So they can follow me. I'm on social media, TikTok, Instagram. It's Annette M. Uribe. Our financial page is Athena Financial. You can find that on Instagram. My phone number is on there, email's on there. I'm an open book, so pretty easy to contact me.
Excellent. So I'll tag her. We'll get her information up on here somewhere on the screen. And thank you again so much for coming. I appreciate your time.
My
And
pleasure.
we'll catch you guys in the next episode of Making Feria.